Can you hear me, Kiki? Sorry to break your smoke break. We ready? Okay, we will call the regular city council meeting for Tuesday, August 15th for the city of Nisswa to order. If everyone would please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the States of America. One nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay, first item on the is to approve the agenda. Please just we will have items 12 and 13 on the agenda. So those are closed session items. So but if I could get a motion to accept the agenda.
I so move.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, second item is the consent agenda, consent calendar. If anyone has an issue or problem or any one thing they want to bring up, otherwise I'll entertain a motion.
I move that we approve the consent calendar as presented.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Next item is open forum. This is a chance for anyone from the public to address the council on anything that isn't currently on the agenda for tonight's discussion. You will be given time if you wish when that item comes up to do so. So is there anyone that would wish to address the council? Seeing none, we will close public forum. Reports, city administrator.
Thank you, Mayor Ryan. Good evening, members of the council. My report is in your packet and I do not have anything else additional unless you have questions for me. Thank you.
With the legalization of marijuana, cannabis, are we working on an ordinance for whether we're allowing public smoking, not public smoking, where in the city you can smoke it?
We will have a discussion on that later in new business. Yes.
Okay.
One other quick question. Do we know anything about the young gal that came in with her chickens?
Yeah.
And is that being worked on?
So many people have been asking where we're at on that one.
Yes, certainly. Yes. Planning and zoning, the commission has instructed Bethany to provide them with some ordinance language options for consideration at their September meeting. So you should likely see something from Planning Commission in September.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay. There isn't anything else. Next on reports is city attorney.
Good evening, everybody. I don't have anything to report here.
Anyone have any questions? No. City engineer.
I do not have anything to report, Mr. Mayor, maybe later. Some
Okay.
agenda items.
Under new business, First one is finance copier leases. Office and wide format printers.
Our copier leases are up in November, and so way before my time, we started leasing them and we pay a maintenance agreement. I know the wide format printer has increased quite a bit, but otherwise I think our main office copier is pretty standard. So just looking to make a motion to approve those so we can get some new ones.
I make a motion to approve the leases.
I'll second.
You've been happy with the ones we have and you're good?
Yes.
They're doing what you need them to do.
Yep.
Do we have a lot of overages at all? You know, or is that's not included in here, right?
It's not, but we just get billed based on our usage. So if we did one copy, we would get one. I tried to pick averages on what we actually spend to give you a comparison
Okay,
based on our average for the year.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Next item is wastewater memo utility billing software.
We have talked about this at our retreat and some other budget meetings. Our utility software was bought out by somebody else and they are going to force us to move at one point in time. So if we're gonna make a change, I decided to go talk to 4 different vendors and kind of see where prices came in and what would work best for us. My recommendation is to go with Cassell, which is actually our fund accounting software. They have a module to add on for utility billing, so there won't be like double entry transactions and it will save some time. This will also include like an online portal for customers like yourself who are on city sewer. You can go log on, create an account, update it, pay your bill, do an automatic payment, change your email address, get bills emailed to you versus mailing and things like that. So it will actually open up a bigger online access to our citizens on city sewer, along with making other payments like soccer registrations and things like that. So it's a little bit more than just utility billing.
So you've gone through it. And you
Yes.
like it.
Yes.
It's gonna make your job a little easier maybe, or is it user friendly for you?
Yes.
Okay.
I actually did, Pequot has the same software and they actually have the utility billing module. And I went up and just looked at it. It looks really nice and user friendly.
Okay.
Yep.
Good. Okay. So I'll make a motion that we accept the recommendation of staff for the utility billing software.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed?
Thank you.
Carried. Developer agreement for Nisswa Crossing. Jenny.
Thank you. This development agreement for this project came before the council in September as part of the final plat approval. At this time, because there's been some time between that approval and the developer looking to initiate the project, we wanted to bring this development agreement back to the council for consideration. I do have one modification, and that is with respect to the letter of credit amount. The developer was able to submit to myself and the city engineer a contractor quote for the work to make sure we're at current pricing. And so with all of those costs, the total letter of credit would be, instead of the $1,705,000, it would be $1,443,334. We might round that. But I reviewed that with the city engineer this afternoon and it looks to be appropriate and cover the basis for the city. So we would update that dollar amount. Otherwise, nothing has changed from the developer agreement since September. Just asking for the council to approve that again to make sure we have all this information and Mr. Thomas Dean is aware of all of the requirements as well.
Okay.
Joe or Tom, did I miss anything? No, okay.
I'll entertain a motion unless someone has questions.
I'll make a motion to approve the development agreement for Nisswa Crossing as presented.
I'll second it.
With the adjustment to the letter of credit amount that I noted.
Yeah, I
Okay.
didn't write that number down.
Okay.
1,000,004.
Any further, so we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Carried. Proposal from Woodseth Construction Observation for Nisswa Crossings.
We typically have our city engineer ensure that infrastructure is constructed according to proper specifications. This is Woodseth's quote at an estimated cost of $35,000. It has been communicated to the developer that this will be reimbursed by them to the city as costs are incurred. There has been no objection to that or no concerns. I think they understand that's part of the process and just request the council approval for this item.
I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion to accept the proposal by Woodseth to oversee the project.
I'll
I'll
second.
second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Carried. Public Works approval to order plow truck. For agenda item 2024 plow truck purchase, excuse me. So.
Now, is it this is the one? Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, this is.
Mhm.
Yep,
This is the truck you were talking about. at the
Right.
previous meetings. So what this is we've, these plow trucks take about a year to construct. From the time you decide to order it. And so knowing that and plus with all the, supply chain issues that we've been aware of, we still haven't been able to order our F-450 pickup. Our work truck that we're still having ongoing issues with that, so it was felt that the best option for the city was to try to place this order early. This was going to be a 2025 purchase. We are looking at making this as a 24 purchase for that reason, and the existing plow truck has had some issues and should be replaced, so bear with me a minute here while I find the right. We allowed, in our 2023 vehicle matrix, we allowed 255,809 for this truck. I adjusted the matrix back in April to allow 300,000 for a plow truck to be purchased. Mike had the truck that we're looking at tonight quoted back in July. That quote priced the completed truck at $276,211.62. The chassis is $115,811.62 of that cost. Upfitting it to turn that truck chassis into a plow truck is another $160,400. Since we obtained that quote, the state contract for the truck chassis has expired and will be rebid in September. Boyer Trucks, who we have obtained this quote from, has told us to expect a 6% increase in the chassis cost. The upfit quote that I just gave you is good until September. Allowing for a 6% increase in the chassis, the truck chassis price rises to $122,760.32 for an expected total truck purchase price of $283,160.32. Should that should this approval be delayed, so the purchase can't happen in or prior to September, the cost of the truck becomes um, could be as much as $192,450 to do the upfit, meaning the total truck purchase price could go as high as $315,240, $32 if we wait. What I'm asking for the council to do is to approve us to purchase this truck now with a cost not to exceed 300,000.
Anyone have any questions for Tom?
I do not.
No.
You want to make a motion? Anyone?
I'll make a motion. I'll make a motion to approve the purchase of a plow truck to not exceed $300,000 as presented.
I'll second it.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Carried.
Thank you, gentlemen.
And may you have better luck than the F-450.
I sure hope so.
Change companies.
Yeah.
We will bring final information to you, just so you have that and can,
Thank you.
yes.
Public Works, approval for road repair quote.
This is pretty much a standard process that we do each year. We do a survey of all the streets within the city of Nisswa, and you have a list of all the roads we went through and the expected repairs. With that, we have obtained quotes for Anderson's to do crack filling this year. And also to repave the alleyway behind the post office. Each year, well, I shouldn't say each year, currently we have 115,600 budgeted for this work. The actual cost for the repairs will be 97,742.15. So we believe we are able to complete our repairs within budget. I'm requesting that the council approve the completion of these 2023 road repairs as quoted.
Tom, I have a question. Are
Sure.
you just, I thought you were looking at doing the entire alleyway.
It is both sides, yes.
Okay, so just
Yes.
want to be clear that that's
Yes.
the whole thing.
Yep, yep.
Both sides of,
Yeah, so if you go down
west.
from the hotel, both directions.
got it. Okay.
Yes.
You say both sides, I mean like both sides of the road. So, okay, got it. Okay. Okay. Entertain a motion.
Make a
I-
motion to accept the road repair.
I'll second that.
Are we doing anything to let, like, if we're gonna do the alleys, for example, this is probably gonna be like a September, October thing?
We're hoping that Anderson can squeeze it in yet this year. After it's approved, I will probably send some kind of a notice to all the businesses along here, probably through the chamber.
Okay, keep them up, because I know a lot of them park back there and they
Yeah.
won't be able to.
There's no way this is gonna happen before Labor Day. I'll be clear to that, so.
Do we ever look at like asking some of those businesses if they want to? Or is that something Anderson Brothers would do? Hey, if you're looking at paving your parking area back there or something, that would be a perfect time for them.
Oh, yeah, once they know that they're doing this, they should just contact Anderson's directly and they'll coordinate it all. We really don't get involved with that. I mean, every time we do a road project, people with
People object
driveways
to, yeah.
do that and
Okay.
they get a little better price by doing that, so.
Mhm.
What, is the state gonna let us do anything about cleaning up some of the trees that are back there? Cause I know some of those trees are,
We haven't pursued anything like that. This is just the pavement,
all right,
pavement service itself is shot. If you've been behind the post office lately, you know how atrocious it is.
my car is very familiar, yes, yeah. Yeah.
We would have liked to have waited for a more of a comprehensive downtown plan, but I think this just has to get done sooner rather than later.
All right. Anybody have any other questions? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Carried.
Again, thank you.
Fire approval to place order for tanker pumper truck. Chief?
Good evening. I am here tonight to ask you to make a motion to let us go forward with our capital improvement plan and to move forward with our pumper tanker at the tune of $384,430. Do you have any questions? Here's the pictures on the screen if you're interested. Go back up.
Do we get a ride in it?
Sure.
So
We
this
like to
is-
drive our little red
this is-
trucks.
This is in the vehicle fund for you guys
Yes,
already.
yes,
right?
and it's being
This
paid
is
for
already
out of
there,
our
so-
sinking fund.
Okay, so where does that bring you up with tenders and stuff then?
What was your question?
Where does that bring you now with tenders? So you still
At
have,
this point, we're gonna have 3 tenders. This new one will be 3,000 gallons. We also have 2 other ones that are 2,000 gallons each.
okay,
The plan is the Lakeshore truck will be replaced with the Lake Edwards truck. And we'll jostle some trucks around. And then when that tanker dies over there, we're not replacing it. So we're doing more with less.
good.
Chief, what are you guys doing with your existing tanker?
We're keeping it right now until it dies.
Got it.
When it dies,
Okay.
then we're just gonna go back to only having 2.
I'll
Okay.
entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve of the order for a tanker pumper truck as presented.
I'll second.
Mark second. All those in any further discussion? Anyone have questions? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Carried.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Chief.
Gull Lake Trail Project pay application number 3.
Hey, Mr. Mayor, this is pay application number 3, asking for your approval. $250,975.89. Would maintain a 5% retainage. And a little over 50% completion at this point.
So most of our trail is completed or?
Nisswa's is a
Pretty
little
much
farther than Lake Shore, yes.
Yeah, Terry.
And the they would like, Anderson Brothers does want to finish Nisswa first, because it'll be after Labor Day before they get the wood for the bridge work and the boardwalks. Now some of that fencing will come over here too, so there'll be a few things they need to finish off, but they do want to have this done before, that comes.
I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a
Mr.
motion
Mayor, I'll
that go ahead, Jesse.
So excited to make a motion. Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve application number 3 for the Gull Lake Trail project.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Was Knife River successful in getting that curbing all in and everything then?
Oh,
Saw 'em in
along
there.
the hill, yep.
I saw him in there pouring the other day, so.
Yeah, they did that yesterday.
Good. Okay. Number 9, roundabout project, pay application number 3.
Pay application number 3, Your Honor, Mr. Mayor. Excited to do this too, Jesse.
That's already big.
Were you in court recently or what?
Yeah. And
Is
here
there
was
something you want to tell us, Joe, or not?
Well, those things you really don't want to break, but kind of leave them on the down low. So this is pay application number 3, for $68,961.66. I have reduced the retainage down to 0.5%. It is only because to see 70% growth in the grass.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we would release that at that point. And then I would say the vegetation right now is about 50%. Not a good year for growing.
Is the contractor accepting of that?
Accepting of what?
Of that, withholding of 0.5% retainage.
Yeah, 0.5% turns out to be about $7,900. Roughly half of what the cost is for the seating, so I think that's a pretty good fair number for that.
Yeah, that seed doesn't seem, well, there's,
Yeah, it might be see what happens, comes up in the spring type of thing, so.
Yeah.
But that sod looks really good on the roundabout circle island.
it's amazing what irrigation will do.
Yes, it's amazing.
Especially when it's wired properly. Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve pay application number 3 for the roundabout project.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carried.
Thank you.
Memo from city administrator reference smoking ordinances and policies.
Thank you, Mayor Ryan. As Councilmember Fraley inquired about earlier in the meeting, something new that has arisen with the legalization of adult use cannabis is how to address smoking in public places. Currently, the city of Nisswa does not have a smoking ordinance, and so smoking can be allowed in certain public places. I wanted to, as you might have seen, a fair amount of articles with City of Brainerd, Baxter, Crow Wing County is working on an ordinance. A lot of conversation is happening with this. I have asked staff, including the police chief, pickle manager, spirits manager, and parks director for their feedback on this topic, as they are responsible for buildings or open space, parks, public safety concerns regarding this topic broadly. And I've asked for their feedback and to work on what their recommendations are, but I thought that I would take the opportunity as our meeting was coming up to get any feedback you have on this. There's a lot of, actually, those articles are really interesting and helpful to read, because Brainerd Parks Commission talks about a lot of different considerations and allowing no smoking at all to some smoking in certain places. There's a lot of complexity to it. I thought I would just open up the discussion for some general feedback that staff can use as we develop something and bring it back to in September.
So we don't need a council motion on this.
I am looking for, unless you tell me you don't want anything specifically, or
I feel
Well-
comfortable leaving it at feedback right now so that staff can get there.
Great.
Okay.
I would just like not see it in the parks nor walking down the street in downtown,
May I
Well,
ask
we
a
have
quick
party
question?
we have someone from the public that wants to address us. Go ahead, Trish. Your
Mr.
name.
Mayor, council members, just wondering what kind of public input will be taken before you guys decide on what the ordinance should be, and would encourage you to listen to, concerns and input of people who will be really affected by it.
Anytime there's an ordinance
Be a
that's gonna
public
be,
hearing?
there has to be a public
Okay,
hearing.
great.
Yeah.
And the biggest feedback I've had from people is they just don't want to see it in the parks and people walking downtown smoking it. They're like, if you're doing it in your house, you're doing it in the car, go for it. No, I mean, that's what, not driving, but if people said, if they drive to the park, they're in the car, they're doing it, whatever, fine, but not walking around with, because we are a heavy tourist area, the kids and the families, they just say that just look bad. And personal experience of going to where it's legal in other places and seeing what's happened in those cities, it's devastating.
are you referring to both cannabis and cigarettes, all forms of smoking? I want to clarify what.
Yes.
Okay, I'm just making sure
Well, if you
I
do it
understand.
with one, let's do it with the other, because you'll get that. Well, that's not right if they can smoke a cigarette out there. And as a smoker, if there's no smoking in the parks, I don't. But I'd like to see that with both.
I guess I have my own opinion on it right now, but I would be interested to see what the staff comes up with, because they're the ones that are gonna have to enforce this. They're gonna be at that end of the spear, so to speak. And so what's practical, what can we actually enforce? And then the other part is what will the state ultimately allow us? And that's gonna come down. I mean, there's gonna be challenges here and there throughout whatever.
Well, the state has been pretty open for the municipalities to make ordinances as to where. I know Lakeville is looking at no public place. I mean, that's what they're debating right now. There's a few other municipalities that are debating that also, that there's no smoking. Well, theirs is on cannabis, no smoking in public places.
Well, I know a lot of people smoke cigarettes, cigars, pipe tobacco, or they've got their chew in and they're swallowing whatever, all that stuff. And if you ban everything, but how do you ban one and not, I don't know what that's gonna look like. So I would just as soon not see any marijuana smoked anywhere in public, period.
Right.
But
Correct.
they can take it home and do it, that's fine. But at the same time, staff is gonna have to put, they can take our input and then put together what's gonna work.
Right.
And they can work with those other cities and stuff and then run it past our legal team to see whether or not we're.
For me as a non-smoker, I prefer not to see anything. But I don't know how practical that would be in the outside in parks and whatever. And whatever we say for smoking, regular cigarettes should be exactly the same for cannabis as well. I think they should be interlocked because you can't, to me, it's difficult to say you can't have cannabis, but you can smoke, regular cigarettes. It has to be both tied together. That's the way I would recommend. And I would prefer to see it nowhere. But I don't think you can enforce that. And typically I was always used to that. Any type of public building or any type of building, you go outside to smoke. And then you can come back in, especially in the wintertime type thing too, they don't want to go outside, but you make them go outside because you don't want it in the building. So, but then to come up with your recommendation, what we can actually enforce.
I guess I agree with that. I would say, within the city limits and just keep it
Right.
simple. What the enforcement's gonna be the issue is I've traveled throughout the country and go to the places where it's legal. I mean, you can't. Everywhere just stinks. We were recently out on the East Coast and you even open shop door stores and it just reeks and it's just like, see you later. So honestly, it's probably going to be a huge issue. We're going to find out for all the local business owners. I think that's where we're going to get the most feedback from. And I don't know what the law states or how we are going to enforce that, but I have a feeling that, just because it's going to be a big enforcement issue, it doesn't mean that we still shouldn't stand there and go for that. But I don't know. Is the enforcement going to have any consequences? Can we, I guess, question for legal, I mean, can we make our own consequences? Can we, I don't know, set an example? That would be my opinion to, try and think outside the box, how we're going to enforce it, how we're going to keep it out, stuff like that.
What's the max on an ordinance violation now for us? Is it still petty? Or is it a misdemeanor level?
A lot of our stuff is misdemeanor.
Okay. So that's 1,000 now.
Yeah. It's been a while. Yes, I think that's right.
Okay. So, yeah, so our officers have to write the citation. It's an ordinance violation that we take it to, if they fight it, we go to, the officer has to go to court. And basically it's all us doing it. So, but if you follow through with it, the word can travel pretty quick. It when it becomes the problem, Joe, when they start showing up and it's the problem, the guys are gonna be busy for a little bit. But hopefully the word gets out And they'll go, I hate to say it this way, but they'll go to the next place over and not here.
Right, yeah.
Or else you'll get some people who want to make a statement and they'll come here and then we're gonna have to fight that.
They have plenty of gift certificates to give out.
Well, maybe it would help offset our levy with the ticket. I don't know, but I guess I'd like to see it enforced strongly,
Yeah.
you know, I mean.
Yeah, whatever we do,
I'm
have
in
it.
favor of setting the strictest rules possible and then also strictly enforcing it and just.
Mhm.
Yeah, set a statement that say we don't want this in our town. That would be my opinion.
I also think it might help staff when they're looking at that, to maybe touch base with some of the entertainment centers, Grandview, the resorts. What are you gonna do? Because, you know, it might, you know, what, I mean, if, because I don't think there's really hasn't been much put out to us at Grandview either, what, you know, you run into it and what do you want staff to do about it? But, you know, what are they gonna do? Because that could help maybe guide them a little bit on, you know, what's practical, what isn't practical. So,
And again, I don't want to get into a point where we just say, well, we don't want that here. If that's the case, then we don't want smoking either, cigarettes. I don't want to have any difference between the two.
No.
So.
Did Jesse have anything to add or just making sure?
No, I made my opinion pretty clear on my stance on smoking marijuana in the city of Nisswa or the sale of it. Not for it. I think we're gonna have a peculiar time having an all smoking ban, more or less, and then having it be enforced through the city, but happy to wait to receive additional feedback from city staff as discussed, so.
Okay, thank you very much.
Item 11, memo from city administrator reference city engineering contract.
Thank you, Mayor Ryan. So before you tonight, I have a request to have the council approve renewing the city engineering services contract between the city and Widseth. I did reach out to the council over the weekend, I believe, to check in to make sure if you had any questions or feedback for me, so I could hopefully help provide good information to you tonight. What I'm looking for is to renew the 3-year contract. As stated in my memo, I have had conversations with the council, soliciting your feedback. Overall, feedback was very strong and positive that Widseth has been providing sound advice to the city and quality services, and that the information provided at council meetings was meeting your expectations, as well as talking with city staff. Staff expressed support in renewing the contract with Widseth and understanding that we want to be mindful if there's ever transition time that we work with Widseth, which happened the last time when we had transition, that we want to make sure that any additional staff that becomes part of our projects has time to get up to speed and we have a good overlap of staff. We don't have concerns in that regard either. Some feedback that the council gave overall when having conversations was in regards to going out for proposals from other firms and I understand the sentiment behind that and wanting to ensure that you feel you are receiving competitive rates and ensuring just the best value for the citizens of Nisswa and for our budget considerations, et cetera. I provided some comparison information that I was able to obtain as far as comparing Widseth's rates with a couple of other firms, and also using the recent project for the roundabout as a way to show the bid received for Widseth's work, who was awarded the engineering part of that roundabout project. They were the low bid compared to the other bids received, as well as they were the only firm that provided, I will call a complete bid without having to know you have to add some add-ons with some of the other bids received to ensure you are meeting all of the requirements as part of the project. And so my recommendation is based on that, I feel that there is a lot of positive reasons to renew the contract for a 3-year period. We have a lot of projects in place and want to keep those moving forward in an efficient manner. I certainly express my gratitude to Widseth for the work that you provide, Joe, and everyone included at the firm. Mike's here as well. I think they have a great team and we appreciate the partnership. So certainly we'll open it up for council feedback and discussion. But my recommendation would be that the council approve renewing the contract. We would work with that draft language and bring that to the council on or before November 21st city council meeting for you to see that information. Make sure the contract includes components as far as the needs for the city. We want to make sure those bases are covered as well. And certainly we'll evaluate that as appropriate. So that's a high level, just a summary of my memo, and I am happy to answer questions. Thank you.
Jesse, you have any questions?
No, I don't. I've had a good experience with working with Joe and Mr. Reese on planning and zoning. I think that they provide a high quality service, so nothing more to add, and just appreciation so far, so.
Joe?
No, I guess I don't have anything that pertains to WSN in this. It would be more pertaining to us as the city when we engage them and how, and stuff. But I guess, that'd be something I could ask or talk about. I guess I wasn't aware of this, or maybe conversation, or I got missed in the conversation ahead of time, but.
That this is coming up, or?
Yeah, that this is coming up.
Oh.
I didn't know about it,
Oh.
If everyone else had been talked with about, but I guess I have questions on our side, not with WSN, but just with when we engage them, how we engage them. What projects, are there
Oh, yeah.
smaller stuff that we look at, so. But I can have that conversation later.
Mark,
No, I'm fine too.
other Mark?
I'm fine.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion.
I'll move that we approve renewing the city engineering service contract between Nisswa and Wyseth for a 3-year period beginning January 1st, 2024 through December 31st, 2026. And to have that final draft at our meeting by November 21st for approval, for final approval, the final draft.
Second.
Okay. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Carried.
Thank you.
The next 2 items are going to be for closed session. We will come out of closed session only to adjourn. So, does any council member have anything for council member reports? And the mayor doesn't either, so. Okay. Okay.
Thank you.
So
So
Mayor Ryan, if you could.
Yeah. I'll make a recommendation to move to closed session pursuant to Minnesota statute 13D05 subdivision 3C. Consideration of offer for property purchase for PID 28230540, 28230538, 28230533, 28230532, 28230535, 28230531, and 28230517.
I'll second that.
I think you missed the number, John. Just kidding.
That one's crossed out. I'm swearing.
We have a second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We are in closed session. Do we want to take a few minutes?
Yes, we will need to take a few minutes and Jesse will start the 3rd meeting in just a minute.
See you in a second.
Thanks.